Hey, what is up mortals, it is James here with another My Hero Academia What If. This is What If Izuku Midoriya received One for All at the start of the anime, part 3. Where we left off with the last part, everyone had just done the hero training with All Might. Ida and Ochako had become friends with Izuku. Shoto was turning into a rival slowly, and Izuku was able to overpower his ice side, at least. A few weeks have passed since then. It's now towards the end of the term. Everyone has been learning and training. They're all told that they'll be going to the USJ. So once they find out that they'll be going to the USJ, they all start getting ready because they've heard from prior students that this is the place you go to for hero training. This is the best rescue training there is. So they all put on their hero costumes and they begin to head towards the bus. All Might is there. All Might is there this time, but he has already used up a lot of his time limit for today in his classes, and he has about 20 minutes left in this form. Once they get to the USJ, there is 13, Aizawa, and All Might. Although, soon after getting there, All Might has to head out for a few minutes. 13 begins to explain what the place is. Most of the students have already got an understanding of what the place is from beforehand though. While 13 is explaining, they all see a purple and black portal open in the middle, and through that portal out steps the League of Villains. The League of Villains opened a portal behind the class as well. A large group of villains step out, 30 at least. The group of villains start to grab some of the students and start to step back through their portals. As the leader of the group monologues about how they're going to destroy the symbol of peace and kill All Might, the group of students begin to panic. Shoto uses his ice to freeze all of the remaining villains in place. As he does this, the portal begins to move towards them, covering them all. They all split up into different areas. Izuku was too focused on the villain's speech instead of paying attention to the group that was behind them. The portal splits everyone up into the same places as the anime, but the difference is there is no Bakugo and there's no Mineta. Izuku understands that the tidal wave force that he would create using his quirk in the water could kill him and everyone else there. So he powers up but does not use his quirk. One of the shark quirk users was heading right for Izuku. Just as he thought he had no other choice but to attack, Izuku was pulled out of the water by Sue. Sue pulled him over to the boat. Izuku thanked her and starts to think of a way out of here. He comes up with the idea to have her on his back and then they use her tongue to swing. While she does this, he uses small pressure punches to keep them in the air. When they try this idea out though, they begin to rocket towards where Aizawa is. Aizawa is similarly beaten by having overused his quirk against all the villains. He's pretty good against one-on-one quirks, but when there's large groups of quirk users, he doesn't have that good of a chance. Just as they skid to a halt once they land, they hear a boom. The doors were just destroyed to the entrance of the building. All Might was there, but he is not smiling. He has smoke coming off all of his body. All Might realizes that he only has about 3 attacks left in this form before he powers out of it. There's sound of a sonic boom as All Might rushes right towards the leader of the villains. He puts out his arm to smash, and he says, "Detroit!" And as he was about to collide with the villain, the Nomu is now standing in the way. His fist collides with the Nomu, and there is a shockwave around where the Nomu is, and then there's nothing at all. Smoke is now covering the area where he stands. The ground underneath for him right now is crackling a bit. All Might begins combat with the Nomu. Punches go back and forth. The Nomu eventually gets the upper hand and grabs All Might where his surgery was. All Might begins to change back into his normal form. Everyone looks on in shock as to who All Might is. He appears to be the skinny old dude. All Might was able to quickly use a small amount of One for All to slide out of the Nomu's hands and over to where Izuku and the others had gathered. Everyone but Izuku was extremely shocked by All Might's normal form. Izuku asks, "What are you gonna do?" All Might responds with, "I'll keep them distracted. Aizawa, you get the students out of here." He looks over to Aizawa, who is unconscious. What happened to him? He begins to blame himself. 13, who is just standing holding Aizawa, All Might says to 13, "13, I need you to get the students out of here. Make sure that Aizawa's okay." 13 says, "On it." As he begins to get the students out, a few villains start to attack, and Shoto starts to freeze them, creating a path out, and Izuku begins to protect some of the students from the villains. Izuku says, "I'll cover the back. Shoto, you cover the front." Izuku then says to All Might, "Your time limit's up. You're not going to be able to beat him." The rest of the class looks at Izuku thinking, what on earth is he talking about? All Might pats Izuku on the head before saying, "I know, but I've still got one last trick up my sleeve." Izuku looks out and sees Bakugo standing behind the leader. Once Bakugo makes eye contact with Izuku, he blasts himself up into the air and starts to dive bomb Izuku. All Might steps out saying to Izuku, "You're about to become the symbol of peace. Show everyone what it means to be one." Izuku, with tears running down his face, turns to Bakugo and powers up into full cow. All Might buffs up into his buff form and heads over to the Nomu. The leader of the League of Villains tells All Might that the Nomu was designed to beat him, and then begins to list all of the quirks that the Nomu has. All Might responds with, "Well then, I guess you're gonna push me to my limits. In that case, I'll have to go beyond plus ultra." All Might says this in such a serious voice that hits the villain with a pressure of just fear that the symbol of peace is gonna crush him. All Might's body becomes covered in steam. He realizes that this isn't going to go away, so he uses it to his advantage. He covers the area in steam as he moves at super speed, hitting the Nomu on all sides. Boom! 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 Everyone's hearing the sound of thunder. All Might's body begins to change back bit by bit as he keeps landing more and more punches on the Nomu. With his last punch that he lands on the Nomu, he yells out, "United States of Smash." It collides with the Nomu and the Nomu is sent flying out. The Nomu's moving at such a high speed that it heads right out into orbit. All Might changes back into his normal form completely, covered in blood. He turns to see Izuku. Izuku is beaten and laying on the ground. The Warp Gate quirk user has used this quirk to allow Bakugo to attack Izuku on all sides. Izuku wasn't able to guard against most of these attacks. With Izuku laying beaten and hurt on the ground, the leader of the league heads over to him, reaching out to touch him. All Might, without thinking, his legs move. He finds himself in his buff form one last time. He manages to place himself between Izuku and the leader as he feels the sparks of what remained of One For All in him starting to fade for good. All Might then grabs Izuku and leaps out of the building. All Might lands holding Izuku. Looking at Izuku, lifts his head looking at All Might. He sees All Might turning pale as he deflates. All Might's arm begins to turn to dust, and before he turns to dust completely, he tells Izuku that it's up to Izuku to protect the world now, and that he's sorry. He's sorry that he couldn't follow Izuku to the end of this path. Anyway, that's it for this part, everyone. Part 4 will come out when this video hits 100 likes, or this weekend, that is. It will cover how Bakugo ended up in the League of Villains, and it will cover All Might's death. Thanks everyone for watching. Peace out, mortals. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Have an amazing day.